Hey everyone, I just want to thank our sponsor, HostGator. HostGator is bringing you film talk as it does every time. Every time we do a film talk, HostGator is there. They are a leading provider of shared, resold VPS and dedicated hosting solutions. They have award-winning support available 24/7, 365 days a year via phone, email, and live chat, any which way you can think of, maybe even carrier pigeon, who knows? You can discover why over 9 million websites trust HostGator and use HostGator. And if you would like to sign up for a new hosting package, which you should, you can use the coupon code GAMEITALL and receive 25% off your first hosting plan. Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Film Talk here on GameItAll.com. I have here actor Bryan McClure. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Glad to be here.
And he's here to talk about a new YouTube series he's a part of called Strings.
That's correct.
And so why don't you tell us a little bit about Strings, what it's about, and where you're at with that right now.
Sure, yeah. Strings is it's a really fun series we got put together. It's the horror thriller genre. Basically, it starts out with a group of teens that have been... They wake up, they got hoods on their heads, and they're tied up, and they don't really know how they got in this room. So as they kind of wake up and come to, they realize that someone has kind of kidnapped them and really has a vendetta against them. So he's sending them through a series of kind of toying with them, kind of similar to Saw. It's said to be a bit of a cross between Saw and Teen Wolf.
Okay, Teen Wolf,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it is kind of Saw-esque. So I think fans of Saw will, fans of movies like Saw or even like Hostel and stuff will definitely enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you tell us how many episodes are expected to in total?
Sure, yeah. The first season, we got 10 episodes, and they've been talking about second season and outlining a third season as well. So hopefully we can get to those for everybody as well.
Okay, cool. And I want to make sure I'm getting this right. So there will be a link at the bottom of the video, guys, for those of you listening. But also the new episodes go up is it every Monday and Thursday?
Yep, every Monday, Thursday we release a new episode.
Awesome. And at the time of this recording, I believe you're up to episode 4. Could be a few ahead of that by the time this goes up, but so just curious then, how did you get on board with this whole project?
Yeah, it was really unique in that a number of auditions, you do in person, and this particular one happened to be for a lead in this series, and I put myself on tape with a friend of mine, and I happened to be in Atlanta when I put myself on tape, and it was filming in Los Angeles. And they actually loved my audition, thank goodness, and they wanted to book me. So I booked it right off tape, which is pretty unique. A lot of times, you have to go through a callback process, at least one, maybe a couple. Some processes are a lot more involved, but they loved my audition right off tape, and they knew they wanted to have me come right from the get-go, so that was pretty exciting.
Well, that's awesome. So straight from pre-recorded audition right to you got the part kind of thing?
Yeah, so that was really exciting for me.
That's cool. Did you know before you auditioned what kind of thing they were going for, and that it was going to be like on the internet? Did you have all the details on that at that point?
I didn't have all the details because, especially since they actually gave us some dummy sides, so they didn't really want us to know a whole lot of how the story was going to unfold. So the sides that they gave us to audition with weren't actually a part of the actual storyline. They just kind of made some stuff up that they wanted to kind of get an idea for the individual character. I did have an idea that it might be YouTube, because at the time they didn't have a name for it, and they were just referring to it as the Untitled YouTube series.
Okay.
So that kind of, I had an idea that it was a web series, online kind of thing. But, I didn't have a whole lot of details at that point.
Okay, because this does seem like a project where, now, when you're shooting, are you basically shooting in order, or?
No. I mean, to some degree, there were certain things we filmed in order. I think the first thing that we did shoot was the actual first scene, which is not always typical, but this one we did shoot the very first scene of the series. That was the first thing we shot. But then after that, a lot of times it just happens to whatever's most convenient. You know, if you're, say, in a specific, I'll just say in this particular series, if you're in a specific room, we might do a lot of the material that happens in that room since we're already set up in that area.
Okay, so I wasn't sure maybe if maybe if it wasn't in order that maybe you did the episodes separately, because I was wondering. You hear sometimes about movies like this where or movies or shows where they're a little twisty later on. They sometimes don't give the actors the whole entire script right away.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, that's a good question. We did actually have a table read of the whole first season, so we did know the outcome of the first season. I don't know anything beyond that. I've heard some talk from the creators of the show, different directions and things that they want to do with it, but I haven't read any story or know much more than just a little bit here and there, and certain things that were important for us to know for our individual characters, so that we know, kind of where we come from, where we're going, like what are, just to inform us better about what makes us as an individual unique in a group. Those kinds of things.
Okay, I'm curious too. Was this a fairly fast-paced shoot, or did you have a lot of time, or?
It was actually a very fast-paced shoot, in that we shot pretty much the whole first season in 9 days.
Oh wow!
But I don't know if you've had a chance to watch any of the episodes or not. They're not really long episodes, which is why we're gearing it towards a YouTube audience. They're typically right around 5 minutes, so they're shorter. So it's not as intense as shooting like a whole TV series, but we were able to shoot what I think is equivalent to almost a normal TV episode. It's essentially about an hour of footage that we shot, and we've spliced it into different segments over the course of 10 episodes with cliffhangers at the end of each of the 5-minute segments.
And I gotta say too, I was gonna say it's probably about 45-50 minutes, all things considered. The thing too is that's not easy, because I mean, whereas if you filmed it like a 50-minute one shot, you have a lot. Like, I feel there's a lot more work in this, because you have to, you almost have to have a hook at the end of every single episode, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want to make it too much like it's obvious that there needs to be a hook. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with that too, because if you watch the different episodes, it really makes you want, like, oh man, how did that just happen? What's going to happen next? You really, I feel like you're pulled in, and you're excited to see what's next episode is going to be like.
Yeah, it's that nice combination of cliffhanger and a little bit just vague enough just to pique your interest.
Absolutely.
Now I'm interested in this in general. Are you finding a lot more kind of like series showing up on YouTube and like online websites like this? Now, obviously, a lot of, like, I'm guessing quite a bit of money is made from the ad revenue. Do you think this is kind of a thing we're gonna see like a lot more of in the future in terms of TV series?
As far as YouTube specifically, or online itself?
Well, even because even like Netflix and stuff are developing their own stuff, and like you got things on YouTube coming out, and like Funny or Die and all this stuff.
Yeah, there's a huge trend of stuff going online for sure. There's not everything, but there's so many different platforms that are creating their own unique content just for their own use. Like Vimeo is now creating their own content to stream on their platform. YouTube has YouTube Red now. We kind of toyed with releasing ours on YouTube Red. Xbox is creating their own stuff, new channels. I think there's a platform called Full Screen, which is creating their own unique content. Just so many different online platforms are creating stuff, and Netflix, I think, is really the forerunner of really shifting everything to online platforms, and that's how a lot of people consume their content now. Which is, if you're keeping up with, if you watch the Olympics, there's a lot of talk about how the Olympics didn't get very good ratings this year because they didn't pay attention to how most people are consuming their content now, because they didn't make it available to watch online, and that's how a lot of people are watching content now.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to be becoming more and more common as the years go by.
Yeah.
Now, going back then to you yourself, when you started out, had you always wanted to be an actor when you started at a young age, or was there something else you want to do first, or how did that come about?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I never even thought about acting growing up. I always wanted to be a professional basketball player.
Okay.
I often tell people, growing up, I wanted to be a professional basketball player. I just never grew up. I'm not exactly a tall individual, so it really, you can only go so far in a sport that requires you to have at least a little bit of height, and 5'6" is on the lower end of things. But I definitely think that having played sports, it taught me a lot about discipline and hard work, and all that definitely transcends into acting. You really got, because it's all your own efforts. You got to put the effort into practice your craft, to meet people, to go out and take classes, to maybe even write your own content. There's a lot of self-discipline required that I know that translates over to my acting career that I did learn playing sports growing up, and I'm thankful for that. I will say, though, I was always interested in art. Like, I did do a lot of drawing and painting, and always took art classes, which I think had a big part in me wanting to live an artistic life, as opposed to a job where I was, in a 9-to-5 situation. I think this just better fits what excites me and fulfills me in my life. And art definitely was always something that was there. Just acting was something that came along a little bit later.
Okay, so it's kind of a transition then from kind of athletics into art, into acting.
Absolutely.
I want to mention this because I was looking at your IMDb page, and you got a couple of interesting sounding credits coming up. I understand you're going to be in a Superman fan film. Is that right?
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. Get to play iconic character in that one. Jimmy Olsen, that'll be fun. But that's it's a little ways out. It's still in development, but that should be a lot of fun.
Now, is that like a full length feature, or is that going to be a short? Or
to my understanding, they're planning on making a full feature with it. Yeah.
Okay. And the other one I noticed, I'm assuming this character is a reference to Ray Bradbury, but I see you're in a movie called Space Command playing Lieutenant Bradbury.
That one's a very interesting story. It's actually going to be distributed now as actually a series. They're aiming for television or maybe something like Netflix. And that one, I actually won a worldwide talent search to be a part of. It started out, the creator, his name's Mark Zickery, and he has a long history in writing for television. He wrote for a lot of things, Sliders, Deep Space Nine. He started off in animation. He wrote for the real Ghostbusters and a lot of different series. And so when he started this project, he did a talent search. It was for one film, and he had two different roles that he was doing a talent search for. One was Cadet Bradbury, and the other was Commander Kimmer. And I auditioned for Cadet Bradbury, and as the talent search was going, he decided he actually had two film ideas in mind. So then it grew to two films, and then eventually it grew into 4 films and then 6 films, because he just has a mind for big story arcs since he wrote for TV so much. So as it grew, he realized he would rather distribute it as a series than a film franchise. So now now he's seeking to distribute it as a series. And because it's grown so much, it spans 150 years. And Cadet Bradbury was originally going to be in the later episodes. So he actually wrote me into the first episodes as well because he liked my acting. And so now I'm playing my own great-grandfather. So I'm both Lieutenant Bradbury and Cadet Bradbury in the later ones. So that's a lot of fun. We filmed some of that so far. So that's been really exciting.
Oh, okay. So that's already been begun production then.
Yeah, we filmed the whole first script, which is essentially a 2-hour script. You know, it was originally formatted for film, but as it'll be distributed for television, it'll be about 2-hour episodes of TV. So we filmed that one, and we started filming some of the second storyline as well, and it's been a lot of fun. And we actually just spoke on a panel at Comic-Con for Space Command last month, which was cool.
Oh, that's awesome. And is that coming out around next year-ish?
Because we've been doing everything without studio help. Mark has been really adamant about making sure that he maintains creative control. We've been doing it all very low budget. So it's been taking a little bit longer because we want to make sure that it's done with his creative vision in mind. And right now we're really focusing on the visual effects portion of it. So I don't know exactly the release date, but once we finish the visual effects, it'll be in a really good spot. And we're also looking to get distribution. Mark's been pitching it to, I know he just got back from London not too long ago, and he pitched it to like 20 or 26 different studios over there. Just really, and everybody's very excited about it, and they spoke very favorable about what we got going, because he showed the first 5 minutes completed and the trailer, which you can see actually on spacecommandmovie.com. But yeah, he's out there pitching it right now, and ideally we'll find a distributor that's really excited about it and then wants to throw in the rest of the money to complete it, because it's been all independently funded right now, which has just been, a slower process as a result. But once we get them on board, then we'll be able to, no pun intended, take off.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it is somewhat to your benefit too. Even if it is a slower process, I mean, like you said, creative control is a big thing, right? And even going back to the YouTube series of Strings, I would say the creators there have almost I'm guessing it must be almost 100% creative control over that.
Definitely. And that's the thing too. Mark, he comes from a big sci-fi background. He loves science fiction, and he thinks that a lot of people in the studio system don't always understand what sci-fi fans really want. They're looking at what they think is going to make them the most money, and not necessarily providing the best science fiction storyline. So Mark, just being a huge fan of science fiction and having such a passion for it, he wants to make something that's really going to speak to science fiction fans. And he's also creating it, which is unique to our series. We're creating Space Command as a hopeful vision of the future, which a lot of science fiction projects have a dystopian portrait of what the future looks like. So we're really trying to provide a hopeful vision of what the future can look like. So I really think that that's a pretty awesome thing with our project.
Yeah, that's unique. I don't think there's very few movies sci-fi movies I can think of that paint the future in a positive light.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's a really exciting thing we got going with that franchise, or with that series.
Is there any other projects you're currently working on, or like coming up soon?
Yeah, Strings is what's going on right now. I actually just wrapped on a movie yesterday. It's a fun film called Moonshine Still. And I got to work with some amazing talents like Madeline Brewer. She was in the first season of Orange is the New Black, and Lydia Wilson, who she was in the most recent Star Trek movie. Both immensely talented, and Nick Blood from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that was just such a fun time. Everybody, cast and crew, were real great to work with. So that just wrapped yesterday. So probably won't be out till next year. But other than that, I've just been as actors, it's helpful if you can do some writing yourself. So me and some friends have been talking about creating some of our own content as well. So that's some stuff I have in the works as well.
Okay, and is directing also in the cards for you as well?
I have aspirations to do it. I have a tendency to take on a lot of things all at once. So I'm really trying to kind of pare that down and focus on one thing at a time. But I could definitely see myself enjoying that in the future at some point.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see both sides of that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So I guess just one last question here. I'm just curious. It's just throwing this out there. What would be your ultimate like dream role? I guess.
Yeah, I have some of my favorite movies. I'm a big fan of fantasy, like Lord of the Rings. If I got to act in something epic like that, or something maybe medieval, swords and horses, and Game of Thrones-esque. Those genres are, I love that. Or I love comedies. Like I grew up watching Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber. Like those are, I just get a big kick out of funny films that are put together like that. I think those would be a lot of fun to work on. But all, in the same token, films that really make an impact are something that really resonate with me. I was a big fan of the movie The Help when that came out. I thought that had a really great message and was just really well done. Something that could really touch people's lives, I think would also be something that would really, really make me happy to be part of.
All right, well, hey, like I said, guys, you can check out Strings on YouTube. The link is below the video there. Check it out. New episodes every Monday and Thursday. And yeah, it's a really cool show, and very Saw-esque, kind of like you said, Saw Teen Wolf, eh?
That's right.
All right, cool. Hey, I want to thank you very much for joining me, and good luck with the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.